The Multotec MultotLag Pulley Lagging System. MultotLag is a direct bond ceramic pulley lagging system for drive and non-drive pulleys, developed and improved by Multotec over many years. The MultotLag system has been specified by some of the major mining companies across the world, thanks to the reliability and benefits derived from installing the MultotLag system in harsh operating conditions. It is a maintenance-free, wear-resistant cover applied to pulley shells. This conveyor pulley system contributes to reduced downtime and lower operating costs by improving traction in drive pulleys and providing a polished, low-friction surface on tail or non-drive pulleys. The benefits to the plant are that ceramic pulley lagging does not wear. Plant availability is increased. The surface consistency of ceramic lagging remains constant. Localized damage can be repaired without replacing the complete lagging. The MultotLag system can be applied by Multotec specialists in one of our dedicated workshops on behalf of our customers, or alternatively by installers or the end user, provided that the system is applied according to specified parameters. It is recommended that installers or end users be trained by Multotec and certified as competent to apply the system as specified. It is not always practical to apply the MultotLag system in our workshops and to travel to remote locations to offer the personalized training and certification. This video serves to provide the guidelines for installation by your own maintenance teams. Multotec specialists are available for further assistance and questions that may arise when applying the MultotLag system for the first time or during retraining. All the relevant documentation, specifications and instructions will be provided to you when you purchase the complete MultotLag system. The Multotec MultotLag Pulley Lagging System Installation. Preparation. The MultotLag system can be applied to new or used pulleys. It is important to do certain checks and measurements before any work commences, preferably by a qualified quality control inspector. A dimensional check must be done to ensure the pulley conforms to specifications. The important dimensions are drum width and diameter, the outer diameter of the pulley that is used to calculate the square meterage required for tiling, the internal aperture dimensions where the bearings and the shaft fit through. This applies particularly to new pulleys. The inspector records the identification numbers stamped on the side of the pulley. This record, together with the date of lining, allows you to track the lifespan of the pulley. The surface condition of the pulley shell must be suitable for applying the MultotLag system. This is a prerequisite for reliable bonding. The pulley shell surface should be sandblasted according to the international standard SA 2.5. The surface of the steel should be free of visible grease, dirt, scale, rust, paint, or any other attachments. The sandblasting must be checked to ensure the surface has been prepared to the relevant standard by using a profile surface gauge. Multiple areas are to be measured to confirm that the indentation reading is above 80. Once the surface condition is approved, the pulley can be released to commence with installing the MultotLag system. A demarcated, clean area must be allocated for the work to be done. This area should preferably be a closed workshop with a solid and even floor surface. 2 stands and a shaft or pipe for new pulleys without the pulley shaft attached are required to keep the pulley level. Care should be taken that the stands and shaft are strong enough to carry the weight of the pulley. Serious injury can be the result of the pulley falling over due to instability or failure of the stands. The following items are required for applying the MultotLag system. It is recommended that a suitable work table be used where these items are neatly laid out. 2 150mm G-clamps, 1 straight edge, 1 spirit level, 4 75mm putty knives, 1 75mm notched adhesive applicator, a serrated knife, cotton gloves, rubber or latex gloves, eye protection, ear protection, dust mask, clean and unused rags, non-porous epoxy mixing board, spacers or separators, black marker to indicate levels on the epoxy containers, lacquer thinners for cleaning. The pulley is carefully lifted onto the stands by means of an overhead crane or forklift. The pulley shaft is supported by the two stands. The shell surface should be wiped clean to ensure that all dust or residue on the surface is removed. The straight edge is attached to the pulley and fastened with the two G-clamps onto the shell edge. Care should be taken that the straight edge is attached at a 90-degree angle to the edge of the pulley shell. If this is not done, the conveyor belt will run off to one side. The installer applies the level to the straight edge to ensure alignment. The MultotLag ceramic tiles on adhesive strips to be used are stacked ready for application. Studded tiles are used for drive pulleys. Smooth tiles are used for non-drive pulleys. The correct pulley lagging must be selected to maintain the circumference of the pulley. The installer should regularly use a clean cloth to remove any dirt or dust on the pulley surface. It is recommended that all technical and chemical data sheets, together with the work instructions, must be available before and during tiling for reference purposes. Tiling. The recommended epoxy to be used as part of the MultotLag system is MM660, which has a shear strength of 1,850 kilograms on a 20 by 20 tile. The installer starts by mixing the epoxy resin and hardener as per the product specifications, using the appropriate spatulas. The mixing board should be of a non-porous material to ensure consistency during mixing. All component containers must be clearly labeled, and it should be ensured that the expiry dates are still valid for use. Also take note that the batch numbers match. Prior to mixing, the installer must mark each container indicating the 1/4, half and 3/4 levels using an appropriate marker. These markings are to assist the installer when decanting, to ensure the correct mixing ratio of resin and hardener. The part life of the mixed epoxy is only a few minutes, so smaller quarter batches should be mixed at a time. Rubber or latex gloves should be worn when mixing the epoxies to protect your skin from the chemicals. Two separate putty knives must be used when decanting from the buckets to avoid cross-contamination. A third putty knife should be used for mixing. When the installer applies the mixed epoxy onto the pulley, he uses the notched adhesive applicator. The applicator ensures that the mixed epoxy is spread evenly onto the pulley. The installer wears cotton gloves for handling the tiles, as he does not want any natural body oils from his hands to get onto the tiles, as this will compromise adhesion of the tiles onto the pulley. When placing the MultotLag tiles onto the epoxy, the tiles are rubbed and pushed down as close as possible to the pulley and level. If a tile must be cut to fill the area, it will be placed one tile from the edge, so a full tile is always positioned at the edge. When cutting tiles, the operator should always wear a dust mask, protective eyewear, ear protection and gloves. We recommend that a Multotec tile cutter is used. MultotLag tiles are supplied in strips with the tile stuck onto an adhesive tape. The tape ensures correct spacing between the individual tiles. This tape must not be removed until the final stage, after filling the cavities between the rows of tiles. The installer starts by inserting spacers or separators to prevent the epoxy from touching the straight edge. The mixed epoxy is applied with a serrated knife and spread evenly onto the pulley drum. The pulley strips are then applied to the epoxied area. Note: the pulley strips are installed with the tape side facing upwards away from the epoxy drum surface. The tape is not removed at this stage of the installation. Care should be taken that the pulley strips must be applied within 15 minutes before the epoxy sets. Pressure is applied to the tiles to push the tiles as close to the drum surface as possible. The installer completes the first 1/3 of the drum. Another straight edge must be inserted at the edge of the first third to prevent the tiles from sagging. The drum must then remain static for 8 hours before rotating it so that the second third is positioned at the top. The same process is followed for the second and third sections of the drum, with a full 8 hours waiting after each in order for the epoxy to cure fully. Dewatering grooves. The next stage is to create the dewatering grooves. This is also split into thirds with 8-hour waiting periods in between. Once the tiling and waiting periods are completed, the tiler can remove the spacers to start the process of creating the dewatering grooves. The areas where the spacers have been removed become the dewatering grooves between the tiles and are to be filled with epoxy to ensure that no material enters behind the tiles and a proper seal is created. Note: the tape remains on the tiles during this phase. If the tape is removed prematurely, the tiles will dislodge. A new batch of epoxy is to be mixed. Remember to use a separate putty knife for decanting each component of the epoxy. Care should be taken to ensure that the epoxy is mixed to the correct ratio as before. The hardener and the resin should be mixed for at least 3 minutes to achieve a consistent color. Move the putty knife at an angle to create an indentation. This ensures that any water on the inside of the belt can disperse along the grooves. Only once the grooves have been filled with epoxy may the tape be removed from the tiles. Do this while the epoxy is still wet. This completes the first third of the pulley. This whole process must be repeated for the next third after 8 hours and the last third after another 8 hours. Cleaning the putty knives after mixing and application is recommended. A lacquer thinner is suitable for cleaning the tools used to apply the epoxy. This completes the process of installing the MultotLag system. Once completed, the unit must be inspected prior to release for packaging. Final inspection and shipping. Wooden slats are strapped around the pulley to prevent damage to the tiles during transit. 25mm slats should be used and should be positioned 90mm apart. During final inspection, your quality control inspector completes the data pack and signs the releases. The data pack includes the inspection certificates, the certificate of release, and the shipping release certificate. Each inspector must check the protection straps and that the spacers have been attached properly. Thereafter, the QC inspector issues a final release. The pulley is now ready to be sent for installation. It is important that the pulley is not installed for at least 48 hours after the completion of the tiling, due to the high shear forces that the pulley will be subjected to. It is important to ensure that the epoxy has reached full cure before installation. The MultotLag system is suitable for a broad range of mineral processing industries, as well as food and chemical applications. The MultotLag direct bonded ceramic system may last up to 25 times longer than traditional epoxy or rubber alternatives. Contact Multotec for more information on the MultotLag Pulley Lagging system.